All right. So I posted a video, and then I didn't get to post anything for the last 2 years due to a couple problems. One being that I don't have a camera with high resolution, which I would need. And then there's some other various life situations that came up. However, recently I met my Sifu's son, my Kung Fu Sifu. I met his son, and he started playing guitar recently, and he's a beginning student. And I asked him what song he might be interested in learning. So he requested the song Storybook by Skinny Living, and I checked this song out, and it happens to be a really good song for beginning guitar students. It has a lot of challenges in it, but it's also rhythmically fun to play. So there's three different things that we're going to look at in this song. First, we're going to look at the left hand or the fretting hand. If you're right-handed, it's the fretting hand. And then we're going to take a look at the chords because that's what we're using this hand for. And then we're going to take a look at the right hand and the rhythm because that's what where all of the rhythm ideas come from. And it's this style, if you see in the video or whatever, it's finger picking, so we're not using a flat pick, we're just going to be using our hands. And so if you're not familiar with any of these finger picking techniques, then you're going to need to practice these components separately until you can play them smoothly. I'm going to go over all of these right now as we go through the song. And the other thing, there's a lot of chords in this song. There seems like there's a lot of chords in this song, but they're pretty much only two types of chords that they're playing. And the chords that they're playing in this song are the four basic major and minor chords that you're going to see all the time in a lot of different songs. So you should really get familiar with these chords because they're used a lot all over the place. And then I apologize in advance for the poor sound quality because I'm recording this on my phone. Like I said, I don't have a camera, and that's just how I have to do it right now. So let's get started with this here. First thing we're going to start off with a bar chord on the 5th fret. It's like an F sharp bar chord, and it's a major chord. I don't know. Did I just say 5th fret? 5th string is what I meant to say. It's 5th string bar chord. Starts on the 5th string, not on the 5th fret. Don't play at the 5th fret. It's actually up here on the 9th and 11th fret. These are where your fingers are, 9 and 11. I don't know if you can see that. Okay. Now you'll notice, I don't know if anybody of you guys have seen the video online of them playing this, but you'll notice that he actually likes to play this bar chord with his pinky. I don't like to play that with my pinky. I think it's rather impossible, for me anyways. He's able to do it, and this brings up an interesting point. There's a lot of things on the guitar where some of these fingering choices, they're kind of up to you. You get to decide what you want to do. This is one of those situations. If you want to play this with your pinky and you can do it, by all means, go right ahead. There's nothing wrong with that. To each their own. I don't like to do that. I choose to use my ring finger. So that's how you're going to see it in here. So if you get confused and you say, well, why is he doing it this way? That's not really an issue. If you want to do it that way, you're more than welcome to. Okay. One of the first things that you're going to think about when you're playing this chord, though, when you're starting out, is you need to think about what strings are you going to be muting, okay? Now, you could technically play this bar chord with all strings involved in the chord. Okay? Most of the time, however, you're not going to find that to be the case, okay? You're going to want to play that chord with the root in the bass, and the root is on the 5th string, so that 6th string, if you're playing that down there, you're putting the 5th in it. It's not bad. It doesn't sound good. Most people don't do it that way. So let me give you a demonstration here of how this song goes, okay? Play through the verse, and we're going to just start with the verse to begin with to learn all of these techniques, okay? So it goes. Okay, that's the verse. That's all there is to it. It's pretty simple, pretty straightforward. Just 4 different chords. Like I said, the first chord is this. And when you're practicing this chord, I'm going to get up here so you can take a look at this better. When you're practicing this chord, okay, first thing you want to do is you want to look at this finger and make sure that this finger is touching the 6th string with the fleshy front part of your finger right there, okay? That's going to mute this string. Okay, you're not going to be able to hear it ring out when you strum the whole chord. This string is going to not ring out. Okay, same thing with the top E string. When you're playing that, this finger right here, the back side of my finger is barely touching this string. It's touching it enough where it's not fretting the string, but it's not allowing it to ring out freely. Okay, so that's how you're going to use this particular finger to mute this top string like that. Okay. Now, when you're playing this chord, what you want to listen for is you want to make sure that all 4 of the strings are ringing out at the same time. Okay, so you want to just play them one by one and make sure that you can hear them and they're ringing clearly and there's no sort of buzzing or, muting of the strings like we're doing purposely with this finger. You don't want to hear any of these sounds in that. So you want to just play it and you just want to make sure that that's the sound that you're getting, okay? Clear, ringing notes. It's very important. It's really important for anything that you do. You want to always make sure that any note that you play is ringing out clearly and it sounds good. Okay? So when you play this, okay, you just play that, okay? That's the first chord. You're going to practice with just playing, just strum it however you want. Just play that, make sure it sounds good. Next chord we're going to play down here, it's C sharp, okay? Same chord, just down here on the 4th fret, okay? Same exact chord, bottom fingers on the 4th fret. That's that chord right here, okay? Next chord we're going to play is a G sharp minor chord. Okay. Now, there's a couple ways that you can play this chord. This is another fingering thing. It's up to you. Somehow, you got to be able to learn how to play it a couple different ways, in my opinion. That way you have some options available for string muting, so you can start to mute unwanted strings. One of the first ways that you're going to learn how to play this chord is, right? So you got this finger, you got a power chord here. You got your first finger on the 4th fret here. And then you've got these 2 fingers, right? On the same fret, 6th fret, they're on strings 5 and 4, okay? You're playing that. And then this, your middle finger right here is actually wrapping around behind these 2 fingers to play on the 4th fret like that again. Okay, now you could learn how to play it like this. You don't have to play it this way if you don't want to. The other way, is just the stereotypical 6th fret minor bar chord. This is what this is, minor bar chord like this, okay? So it's like playing this power chord here and then pushing down these top 3 strings with this first finger, letting them all ring out, okay? Now if you don't want to hear those, you can actually start to mute them by lifting your finger off, your first finger that's barring on the 4th fret here, that guy right there, by starting to lift the back side of the finger up off those strings. Okay, as you can see, progressively some of the notes start dropping out of the chord, and that's how I play this particular chord when I'm playing through this song. I don't do it like this. You can, if it's going to make it easier for you to not hear those notes, or you can do it this way, and you can start to learn how to just remove that finger off of the bar and start to mute out those other notes on the top strings. Okay, so this is a minor G sharp minor chord. It's on the 4th fret, and you're gonna play those 4, the bottom 4 strings, 6, 5, 4, and 3. Okay, the top 2 strings we're not playing. Listen to that one. You play that one. Make sure it's ringing clear. Now you're gonna move this chord up from up here. It's a B major chord. Now it's the same chord almost, with the exception of the 3rd string. Instead of being a minor, we've made it major. How we're doing that is we're playing the same minor bar chord. This middle finger is kind of hanging out here. We put that middle finger onto the third string, and it's basically sandwiched between these two frets. So you've got your finger over here on the 7th fret, and then you've got these two fingers on the 9th fret, and then this finger right here is on the 3rd string, but it's on the 8th fret, okay? And you'll notice that you can relax this finger a little bit more on this particular chord, because on the minor chord, this finger is actually playing this note, or down here in the G sharp would be here. It's playing that note right there. It's holding it down, so it actually has to hold this note on the 6th string, and it has to also hold this note over here on the 3rd string down. When you're playing this chord right here, you're actually freed up. You don't actually have to have that finger barred anymore across the strings, because it's really only going to be playing one note here. Okay. Now, in a normal, typical, stereotypical 6-string chord, you're going to have that down there because it's actually going to be playing these top 2 strings. Okay. But in this particular instance, you don't need that. We're going to actually use it to just mute these strings, so you kind of relax it a little bit more here. Those are the first 4 chords. Very easy. So practice those, get familiar with those, and then once you're familiar with them and you got all those things and they're sounding clear, okay, now I'm going to show you how to play the rhythm part. The rhythm part over here, I'll show you from 2 angles. I'll show you from front on, right here, with this hand, and then I'm going to show you from the side, okay? So remember, we're playing our F sharp, we're going down to our C sharp, and we're going to do a G sharp minor, and then up to a B, okay? So it's... Okay. Now, the beginning of the song starts like this. What we're going to do is we're going to practice how to actually use our fingers to execute the rhythm. Okay. First thing we're going to start out by doing is we're just going to rest our finger here on the 5th string. Okay. Then these other fingers are going to curl in, kind of like this, and then they're going to rest individually. Like your pointer finger is going to be on the 4th string. Your middle finger is going to be on the 3rd string, and then your ring finger is going to be on the 2nd string, and they're just going to rest kind of like this, kind of like in a claw grip. You see that? They're going to kind of just rest on the guitar more or less like this, right? I've got the strings in my finger here, right? But they're just resting there, and then this thumb is just going to rest right here on the 5th string. Okay. Now that you've got your fingers there, what you're going to do is you're going to pluck this string right here with your thumb on the 5th string. Okay? Just get used to doing that. Very straightforward. That's the first step. The next step, okay, we're going to take our hand off of the guitar, right? And we're just going to strum all 4 of these notes in the middle here. Remember, we're muting this string, we're muting the top string. We're just going to kind of just like that. Okay, using these 3 fingers right here, just going to, okay? You could even do it with 1 finger if you wanted. It's just strumming this, so it doesn't really matter. The guy in the video, he's using 3 fingers. If you want to use 1 finger, that doesn't matter at all, as long as you're hitting those strings just like that. Okay? All right, that's the first component that you're going to learn. Okay? We're going to practice this all in the same chord here. Okay? The next component to the rhythm is going to be the plucking. So we're going to learn how to. So it's a strum with the fingers, and then the next one is a pluck with the thumb, and then a pull off where you've got these fingers kind of a little bit underneath the strings, and you're just going to pluck in, like your finger's going to kind of come down like this, and then you're going to pull away from them like that, just like that. Okay? Once you've got that, once you've learn those two things. Those are the only two things that this guy is doing, okay? It's just either one of these, it's doing a, or a. There's also a backstroke too that you're gonna have to get used to. So if you're doing the downstroke, you're also gonna have to get used to doing an upstroke with your fingers as well. Most of the time, it's just a downstroke. The other upstrokes are either going to be plucking, and then occasionally a use of the back with your finger, like stroking backwards across the strings back towards you. Okay? So here's how the rhythm goes. For the first part, it goes. Goes 1, 2. Sorry, my bad. 1, 2, 3, and that's a pluck up, and then 4 is a down. So get used to practicing that right there. So it goes 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay. Now you'll notice that I'm playing that straight. I'm playing it 1, 2, 3, and 4. But the rhythm of the song, if you listen to what he's doing, he's kind of swinging the rhythm a little bit. You know, it's kind of a little more flowing. So you're not going to play it that way. You're practicing it that way straight. So you're teaching the muscle memory to your fingers to remember that, and then you're going to add in the swing after you've learned how to do that. After you've taught your fingers how to do that motion slowly, of course. You're not going to rush this. You're going to do it until you understand. You know, you tell your fingers to do it, and they get it finally. Once you start to get that smooth, then you can start to add in the swinging rhythm feel of it. Okay. Now the next chord, when we come down here to the C sharp bar chord, okay, this one is a little bit different. So we start out with the rhythm up here going, and then it goes. Okay. He changes the rhythm just a little bit on that chord right there. So it goes. Now you notice what I'm doing here. I'm going 1, a pluck up, another pluck up, all 4 strings. So it goes thumb only, then these 3, pluck up, then all pluck together at the same time. Okay? And then I'm going to strum up with my finger. Okay? And I'm going and 4 and. So it's going 1 and 4 and. Now this hand's a little exaggerated. It's going to stay much closer to the string, especially the faster you go. You're not going to have a lot of time. The farther your hand goes away, the less time you have to react, you know, when you're in time with the song. Now the other thing that you're hearing is the slap of the strings. That's another separate technique that you're doing. You're going to practice. Remember, when we're grabbing the strings, you're going to practice just coming down and making sure that your fingers land where they're supposed to. Like that this thumb is going to land on this 5th string here, and these other fingers are going to land right in between these strings, so you're going to almost be grabbing them, right? They're just going to, get used to throwing your hand and making sure that your thumb stays above this string right here because it's getting ready to pick it, and that these stay respectively between their strings, okay? And they're resting on the appropriate string. My camera keeps changing color, so sorry about that. Okay, but when I'm putting my hand down on here, you're going to practice slowly dropping your hand on here and getting used to that motion, getting, slowly resting your hand on the guitar like this, okay? It's very, simple, flowy, right? Flowing. And then after you get used to doing that, you can start going faster, and you get to a point where you can throw your hand into the guitar where your fingers like basically make a percussive noise when they go into the string, right? So when you're hearing that, just like that, that's some of those noises that you're hearing him do in the track. He's basically just throwing his hand in the guitar, and it creates a percussive, rhythmic feel that adds to the character of the song. So when you're hearing those noises, that's what's happening. Is his hand is coming in, and it's aggressively hitting these strings that are all kind of muted. None of the chords are ringing out, and you just hear like a nice sort of slapping sound, right? Okay. So that's the next chord, the next rhythm. Now it goes back to the same rhythm for the next chord, but you're moving all these down onto the 6th string now. So we were on the 5th string, we started up here, we moved our chord down here, and now we're coming back over here to the 6th string to play this G sharp minor chord, okay? Like we talked about earlier, however you want to finger this, but we're going to do the exact same rhythm that we did up here on the F sharp that we're going to do down here on the G sharp, okay? So if we went, we're going to do the same thing down here. Okay? Now, if you happen to catch one of these notes right there like I did, it's not a big deal. Don't really worry about that. You can like play it the way that I told you. You're not going to do that. Right? And then the same rhythm up here when you move your bar chord up to the B, which is on the 7th fret, that finger. When you move that up to the B, it's the same rhythm that you played down here on the C sharp major chord. B major chord, right? So it's going to be the okay. Now putting it all together, it goes. Oops, sorry. Let me start that again. Now you'll just notice right there that I kind of screwed up the rhythm with this hand because I'm not used to playing off beats. I've trained my hands to play, like if I'm doing an off beat, it's not on the downbeat, like 1, 2, 3, or 4, then my hand automatically wants to pull away from the guitar. And that's just a habit that I've got into. Now he doesn't do that, and it's okay. Learn how to do it that way. Real quick, it's a simple thing, but my brain has been trained to do it a different way. You're going to train your brain to do it however you feel comfortable. If you want to play it, if you want to play that first one with a pull-off, you can do that too. It's the only thing that really matters is the rhythm. If you're playing the notes in the right spot, like if you're playing them in time or in the right place, okay? So it goes like... Okay, so that's the first part. It's just it plays it twice, and then from right there he goes down into this B chord down here. He goes. You'll notice in the song, it's actually the exact same notes as this B that we're playing up here. Now this B chord is played down here in the 2nd fret, 5th string, so it's the same. Okay, and he plays that chord and he goes, and then we go into the chorus, which I'll go over in another video that maybe I'll post tomorrow or something. I'm just going to call it quits on this one for right now because I got to go and do something. It's like 9 o'clock. It's getting late. But I'll post another one maybe tomorrow after work. I'll sit down and I'll just post the next part of this song. But basically, the next part of this song is almost exactly similar to this, and I'll just play it for you real quick before I end the video. And it goes, right? Same rhythm. He changes the chord here. Instead of where you would go up to a B, he plays minor chord instead. It's like, and it's another variation of the bar chord. We got our major chord and our minor chord, and that's the only difference. The only real thing that gets tricky at the very end of this chorus, he does a change like that, and we'll go over that in the next video, you know. But for now, we'll call it a night. All right, guys. Have a good one.